You are all welcome to this tutorial, and what we are considering now is the cutting of the complete trouser with adjustable elastic. And the first thing which we need to know is the measurement we'll be using in drafting and cutting this trouser. The length is 39 inches, the waist is 38 inches, the lap or thigh is 27 inches, the nail is 17 inches, while the bottom, which is the circumference of the ankle area, is 13 inches. So I will start immediately, but before I start, I want to show you something. You get your fabric and fold it into two equal places, just like what you are seeing. You have to fold it into two. So that's the first thing you need to do. And then I will start with the drafting. So I will remove the marker to 1 inch at the top, and the purpose of removing this 1 inch is for the waistband. So having removed this 1 inch, I will then measure the full length. The full length is 39 inches. I will mark 39 inches. Then I will push my tape forward and also mark another 39 inches. So I have 39 inches in two places. So this is just to enable me to give a straight line, just to enable me to give my straight line. So I will now add 2.5 inches for the folding allowance. You either add 2.5 or 2 inches, anyone you choose to add, but I normally use 2.5 inches for the folding or the hemming area. So I have marked the length and the folding allowance. I will now move to the waist area. So the waist is 38 inches. If I divide 38 by 4 inches, so to get that, I will fold my tape. I want you to watch very careful what I'm doing. This 38, I will divide it into two. First of all, whatever it gives me, I will further divide it again into two. So this is 38 divided by 2 will give us 19 inches, and then I will further divide 19 inches by 2, which will give us 9.5 or 9.5. Then I will take 1 inch out from here first. Take 1 inch out. So I will then, having add 1 inch, I mark 1 inch first. I will now mark the 9.5 or 9.5. This 9.5, and I will add 1 inch to it. So if you should consider from this point to here where the fabric starts, you see that this is 10 inches, 10.5 inches is 10.5 inches. Then I will push it forward. I will mark the same 10.5 and add extra 1 inch. I will measure here. I make it 10. That is my crotch area. I'll make this 10. So I will connect this. Connect the dots, the points that I mark, and I will also connect this and this. You know, this I added 1 inch extra to it after I have gotten this 10.5 between here to here. I added 1 inch, which will now give us the total of 11.5 or 11.5, and I will join it. So if I join it, it will have a kind of slope on that area. That's what you want to achieve on that flat piece area. So it has a kind of slope on this area. It did not go straight. This is the straight line, so I added 1 inch for it to have a kind of slope. Then I will mark my lap. Remember, my lap is 27 inches. 27 divided by 2 will give us 13.5. I will mark 13.5 here, and I will mark here. So I will give a curve, a freehand curve at this point. So I will remove 1 inch here, and I will also connect this to give me a slope on the front area. So I will measure out the half length, though I did not give that, but I'm going to make it 19 inches. I'm going to make it 19 inches, which will be the nail point. So I have joined the points. So what I will do now is that I will mark out 1.5 inches, and on the bottom area mark out 2 inches. So I will then mark out the second fence of the anchor area, which is the bottom, which is, this is 13 inches. 13 divided by 2 will give us 6.5 or 6.5. So I will proceed to this point. This is 17 inches. 17 divided by 2 will give us 17.5 or 8.5, pardon me, to give us 8.5. So I will then mark. So I'm going to connect this. I connect this to this, and also connect this. I connect this. I will use my French curve to connect this area. So having drafted out the front, I'm going to cut it out, and after then I will use it to trace out the back. So I will mark the waist measurement. This is 38 inches, and this is 38 inches. So at the bottom I will mark 39, which is the length. So I will turn it. You can see how I turned it. If I turn it, the bottom will be at this point, the bottom will be here, while the waist area will be at the left hand side. So I will then place it. When you place it, make sure that the bottom area, this area, make sure that you aligned the bottom area. If it is not in alignment, you cut it. You trim the excess to make sure that they are in alignment. So we then trim this side. I'm tracing the back out. Well, first of all, let me trim the side of it. So I'll be using this for the fly piece. This will be used for the fly piece. The fly piece. This will be for the fly piece that will contain the fly piece zipper. So I will mark here. I will still reduce it a little bit. So this is the place it's going to be. So I will also cut this. This will be for the belt holder. The cut here will be for the belt holder. So I will also mark it to identify the front and the back. I give a notch here, then I'll push the front of the trouser backward, and I will give 1.5 inches seam allowance. This is 2 inches. Is 1.5 inch seam allowance. So, and on this area I will give 1 inch, make it 1 inch. I will project 1 inch out. I will give freehand curve on this side. Now at the back area, it will project out 2.5 inches above the front area. This is the fly piece area. So it will project from this point, it will project out 2.5 inches up. So, and I'm going to connect it. It will go in a slant way. So I will then mark it. Make it straight. So I will cut it out. So we have our trouser here. Meanwhile, I'm going to be making use of the fabric for the pockets, the side pocket and the back pocket. I will not use pocketing for it. We're making use of it for the back and the side pocket. So I'm going to cut out the side pockets. I'm going to cut out the side pockets. The width of the side pocket, I make it 7 inches, and the length I will also make it 7 inches. Make it 7 inches. I'll now be making use of pocketing for this. So this is my pocketing. I'm using the fabric. I'm making use of the fabric for the pocketing. So I give a mark of chalk to identify the front and the back. So I will cut it out and also cut here. I will be using this for the back pockets. So let me measure out the dimension for the back pockets for you to see. So I have 7 inches here, and I will make the depth of the pockets. I will measure it 7.5 inches. I make it 7.5 inches. So, and the pocket I will be putting here will be double welt pockets. For the back pockets, it will be double welt back pockets. That's what I'll be using for this. So I give a mark of chalk, and I will still use the fabric, the same fabric, to turn it. So this is the one I will use in turning it. This is the fabric I'll be using to form the mouth, while I use this to cover it. So this is all about cutting, the drafting and cutting of our trouser. The next thing I will do now is I will proceed in cutting the lining, which I will be using for this. After cutting the lining, I will now move straight to the sewing. So this is our lining. So you will fold it into two this way. I normally make use of the foreign edge to be at the bottom area. The foreign edge will be at the bottom. Why okay, let me place it for you to see. I pick out the front of the trouser. This is the front of the trouser. Then I'll place it this way. So the foreign edge will be downward. It will be downward. So why the waist of the trouser will face up? Why some will like to do it this way, so that they will fold the bottom area, but I prefer making use of the foreign edge to be done, so that I will not either weave it or fold it. So it's going to be just this way. So I will cut this out. Cut this out. I will shift it. I will give a space of about 1.5 inches is okay. 1.5 inches. Then I will also cut it out. So this is all about the lining. Just cut the lining now. We move straight immediately to the machine to start our sewing. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to commence with the sewing right now. So you can see our trouser which we just cut, and this is the front side of the trouser. This is the front side and this is the back side. So I pull out the front side, and I will put my dart at the back side, and then thereafter I will now take it to the table to iron the place that is needed for the pocket. So how do I mark out the dart? We mark out from this point. You can see this curve here. So the one that has the longer, which is the back, the longer curve at the crotch area. So I will mark out 1 inch. That 1 inch will be for the dart allowance. I will now take out 1.5 inches. So meaning that from here to here will be 2.5 inches. So I'm going to fold my fabric this way. I fold it, and then I will give a notch. I'm going to give a notch here. So these are the pieces, these for the belt holder. This is the side pocket. This is the back pocket. Remember I said that I will be making use of the fabric for the back and the side pocket while I was cutting it. So I have given a notch here. So I will now sew my dart along the notch I gave to it, and my dart should be 3 inches long. 3 inches long. My dart should be 3 inches long. You place your tape here and you give a mark of chalk. So I will start to run my stitch. So this is for this. I will also run my stitch on the other side, just as I have done on this first one. Before I start running, I have to give my mark, my 3 inches. This is my 3 inches. I mark it, and remember that I said my stitch will end at that 3 inches. So this is it. I just finished the sewing of the dart. Now I'm going to mark the position where my pocket is going to be. This is 38 inches. So 38 inches divided by 4 will give us 9.5. So you can see it. So I will mark out my seam allowance. This is my seam allowance at the front side, and I will remove 1 inch, which will give the here. I will also give a notch here. So, and the length of the pocket mouth will be I'll make it 7 inches. I'll make it 7 inches. I give a notch also. So I'm going to apply my gum stay on this area. I will also apply my gum stay here. Now another place which I will apply my gum stay will be on this side, on the fly piece area. I will apply gum stay on it for the fly piece zipper. So after then I will fold this. I will fold it with my light. I'm going to fold it. After I've applied gum stay, I'm going to fold it. So from this place I gave a notch to this point, I will fold it and iron it to be straight. The same thing I will also do on this area. Then I will also apply gum stay after ironing this side, the darts. I will apply gum stay on this area for the double wet pocket. Some people may choose not to apply gum stay for the distance, but in my own case I normally apply gum stay on this back side for the wet pocket, the double wet pocket, or any, whether single or double wet. I normally apply my gum stay on the back. So I will move straight to my iron table so I can do that, and we will proceed. So this is the back side of the trouser, and this is the gum stay, the fizzle, which I use in gumming it, and this is for this, the opposite side, and this is the front side. And although I did not bring this one to play when I was introducing it, this is what I will be using to form the back pocket or the double wet pocket. This is the downside and this will be the upper side. The same thing with this side. And this is the front of the trouser. This is the gum stay I said we apply by the side, and after applying the gum stay you have to use your overlock or weaving machine to run your weaving along by the side. From the place you gave a notch, you run your weaving with your overlock weaving machine. But if you don't have overlock weaving machine, you can equally fold here, fold it and run stitch at the tip. So the reason for this overlocking is so that it will not be, the clothes will not be coming out just like what you are seeing right now. It will not be pulling out. So that's the reason why we use overlock to run on this side, and this the opposite side. I also use overlock weaving on that area. Just as I said before, if you don't have overlock weaving machine, just fold it this way. Just fold it and you run your stitch. And this is the place, the fly piece area or the fly zipper area, so which I told you I will be applying gum stay, which I did. You may be asking of the dimension of the gum stay which I applied. This is about 2 inches of gum stay which I applied, and this is also 2 inches. So the back is also 2 inches. The back is also 2 inches. So I will start by sewing. I start by sewing the side pocket. So after then I will now sew the back pockets. So this is the front side of the trouser, and this is the material or the fabric which I cut out to use as my pocketing, which is the same fabric. So if you can see, this is the place I gave my chalk mark indicating that this is the wrong side of the fabric, and this is also the wrong side of the fabric. While here is the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to place this. I'm I'm going to place the pocketing this way, meaning that the wrong side of the fabric will be facing this trouser on the wrong side. This is the place I also marked my chalk, will be facing it this way. So I will then run my stitch. You also give a notch at that same place you gave the first notch. This second notch is to cut this. You can see it. So the notch doesn't need to be too big. So I will now bring this thing out this way. Now fold it. You will give a stitch here to hold here. You can see the stitch. So I will now measure. I will measure the waist of my trouser. The waist of the trouser is 9.5, which is the 38. And remember, I will still add my seam allowance on the both sides. So if I remove seam allowance here and I mark here, so I need to push it forward a bit. So you measure after pushing it forward. So I have 9.5 here. So I'm going to give a stitch here, a little stitch, because I know that I will lose this. I'm going to lose it later. This stitch is not going to be here. I'm going to lose it, but I want to get my pocket side area. So I will give a notch here, and then I will turn it. So I'm going to give a cut here to trim it, trim out the excess. I will run stitch at the tip of the pocket. also do the same likewise on this side. Also give a notch. I'm going to mark it. So I have 9.5 here. I will keep it this way and run my stitch. I'm going to trim this. Also give a stitch here. Remember this stitch I gave, we still lose it. I'm going to lose it during the west fixing of the west. I'm going to lose it. So I want you to stay through this video because you're going to learn a lot. So I will also run stitch here. I will trim this. And also trim this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to put the lining. Then I'll start in the double wide pockets. So this is the lining I'm going to be using, which I have cut during the cutting. It was the last thing I cut during the cutting of this trouser. I'm going to place it this. So this is the opposite side. After this, I will be using one side to make illustration to avoid much on the area of the wet pocket. Only show one. I use one of the pockets to do the illustration. Trimming out the lining. So this is all about for now. You know, in my previous video, I normally close the lining at the top side, but I'm not going to close it. You will see the reason why I left it open for now. You see the reason when the time comes. You will see the reason. So you can see both of them on the upper area. I left them open without closing it. So I will now move straight with the wet pocket. So this is the wet pocket. I'm going to mark it. The pocket will be 5.5. The width of the pocket will be 5.5. So if you have been following me on my previous video on YouTube, I do say that when the waist of your client exceed that 5 inches, you make it 5.5. From that 5 inches above, you make it 5.5. But if it is below that 5 inches, you make it 5 inches. So I'm going to I want the mark of the chalk to print on the opposite side. That's why you can see me still marking the chalk on it. So this is the opposite side. So I will pick the opposite side and place it on top. Make sure that the both sides are equal. Make sure they are equal. So I will not hit. That's it. And I have a little printout on it, so I'm going to trace it out. So I have just traced it out. You can see it. So this is my 5.5 here and here. So I will now fix. I will be using this to illustrate for the pocket. I will fix it. While running your stitch, you start from this place. You see the back of chalk, and you will end here. So I will start immediately. Also place the opposite side. So I will give my cuts. I fold it. So while cutting, you make sure that you don't cut where your stitch run. You also cut on the opposite side. So we push the fabric inside. I want you to watch carefully as I fix this. You use your scissors or anything to push that arrow that's pointed out, push it inside, and I will run my stitch here. Can see it. I will do likewise on this side. This arrow mount, I push it inside. Then I will run stitch on this side. And also here and here. So I will cover it. I'm going to cover it. Before I cover it, let me show you the front. This is how our wet pocket is. You can see it. So what is left is just to iron it, but I will not iron it until I cover it. So this is the way I'm going to cover it. This is the cover. I'll be using this. This is the wrong side and this is the right side. So the wrong side will be facing up while the right side will be under. So I will place it this way. I want you to watch very carefully as I do this. Place it this way. I push it to the side. As I push it, I don't know if you understand what I'm doing. You can see what I'm doing here. So I will now hold it this side and sew it from the side. Sew it from the side. I will trim it. After trimming, then I will then turn it. You see how I will turn it. So you can see it. I have just done it. Oh, this is the back. This is the front. So what I will do next is that I will make sure that the two sides are equal on this side and also equal on this side. So I'm going to run stitch here, from here to here, and also to here. The reason I don't want here to be open, this place that is open, I want to close it. I'll be closing it from inside. I'm not going to run stitch on top, but rather I'm going to run stitch from here to close this opening. So I want it to wash. So you can see it is closed. So I will then run stitch by the side. Next thing is to close here. So this is just the way to fix our wet pockets, our double wet pockets. It's just the way to fix our double wet pocket. What I will do is to go and iron it. Then the next thing I will do now is to use my overlock weaving machine to weave all these edges. I will also weave the bottom area, weave here, and also weave this side. But at the waist area, I will not weave on the waist area. The same thing is also applicable the front of the fabric. The same thing, I will also weave other places without weaving the waist area. So this, the next thing after then, this is our fly piece. This is our fly piece. I will also weave it, but this fly piece, if you should look at the fly piece on the left hand side, this one at the left hand side, if you join it this way, let me remove the back for you to see. If you join this way, the one at the left hand side is the one I'm going to apply. I will be applying gum stay on this one on the left hand side. So I will apply gum tape before I will use my overlock weaving to weave around the edges. Also, I will not weave on the upper side of it. I will not weave here. I will weave all other places, but on this side I will not weave it. So I will proceed now with the weaving. So this is the overlock. I have finished weaving it with my overlock weaving machine. So what I will do is to join the front with the back. So that is what I'm going to do right now. So I will place it this way. So I will start to run the stitch, turn it. I'm joining, this is the side seam. I'm joining the side seam. So I will run double stitch here. So I will also join the side seam for the opposite side. This is the opposite side. Also run a double stitch. You can see how I run the stitch. So what I will do now is to I will join the fly piece zipper. That's the next thing I will do. Join the fly zipper. I will measure out the length of the fly piece zipper. I'm going to make it 6.5. I'll make it 6.5. I give a notch. I will give a notch at that 6.5. I put the zipper. So this is it. I will open press here, and let me sew the opposite side. This opposite side is the place I applied gum stay, so I will place it this way. I put my fly piece this way to join it. So I will also press here. I give a line on this area and I will iron it, so I press it. So then I will return back. But before I go there, before I go to my table to iron all these things I want to do, let me sew the belt holder. Remember I said that this will be for a belt holder. This will also be for a belt holder. So I'm going to fold it this way to sew the belt holder. So I will trim it to enable the turning. See how I'm trimming it? want to turn it now, you look for a stick or broom, or if you have a metallic object that is straight just like this one, you can make use of it to turn it. I will also turn this. So I will take it to the table alongside with the fly zip to iron it, and while ironing it I will fold it by the side. The joining I will fold it by the side just this way to enable it to be straight. So after ironing it I will now bring it back and show you how it is. So this is the flap. I have ironed it. You can see the mark. Ironed it, and I have compressed this, and this is the bed holder. Remember I said I will push it by the side. I should push it by the side, so I've done that. So we now join. I'm going to join this. I'm going to join the fly piece. This is the way I'm going to place it. Now make sure that this area are equal. Here, make sure that the 2 points are equal, and the space between this and this should not be up to ½ inches. So you can see it, and see the space between here to here. It's not much, so we turn it this way. So we turn it this way, and I will run my stitch. I run double stitch on it. The stitch will be on top of the one I've already run. So we have tied the zipper on the fly piece. So this is it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I will prepare the waistband for this. So after preparing the waistband, I will now start fixing the waist on it. But before I fix the waist, I have to join the inseam before fixing the waist. So these are the fabric. I have cut them for the waistband. These two here. So I want to make it to be long because of the type of the way the waistband is going to be. So what I will do is that I will join it. I will cut this into two, join one on this side and join another on the other side. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So, and I'm joining it right now. That's it. I joined this here. So there is something I forgot to tell you. The waist, while cutting it, we can make it 3 inches. I mean the width of it can make it 3 inches or 2.75. Like this is 2.75 now. It's 2.75. If you make it 2.5, it's still good. So I will get my gum. I will cut it and take it to the table. I will open press this and apply my gum on it, either gum stay or material gum. We call it pepper gum or material gum, or your interface. Cut it a stronger interface. We also go for it. You use it. Make the, while cutting it, you will cut it 1.5, the width of it, the width of the interface. Your strong interface, you make it 1.5. I don't mean stiff neck. Don't make use of stiff neck for it. Make use of interface, stronger interface for it, or gum stay or material gum, anyone you understand. Make use of it to gum it. While cutting, cut the width of it 1.5. So that's the width we are going to be using for this trouser while preparing it. So I will take it to the table and prepare it, gum it, and fold one side of it. So this is the waistband which I've gummed it. Remember I said that the width of this waistband is 1.5. So this is 1.5. 1.5. So I have just finished preparing the waist. Remember I said that you fold one side. This is the way I folded it. You can see it. So I will continue by sewing the inseam. I sew the inseam of the trouser. This is the inside seam. While sewing it, remember that the circumference of the ankle or the wrist area, the ankle area, pardon me, is 13 inches. Here is 13 inches. So I will start with the sewing. I do say that the bottom area, which is the ankle, is 13 inches. 13 divided by 2 will give us 6.5. I will mark it with my chalk. here is 17 inches. Here we will run double stitch here. I need to change my down thread. So I will also run stitch on the opposite side. Remember that the circumference of the nail is 8.5, which is 17 inches. So we are now to the west. We have just finished running the inseam, so we focus on the west, fixing the west band on it. So the first thing I will do is to measure out my west. Is to measure out the west. That's the first thing, and now also to mark the belt holders. That's the first thing to do. So my west is the west of the trouser pattern is 38 inches. If I divide that 38 by 2, it's going to give us 19 inches. It's going to give us 19 inches. So I will measure. The first step, I will place my tape at the zipper area. This is the zipper, this line now, this is where it's going to fall. So I place my tape there. Then I will run my measurement. What I'm looking at is 19 inches. 38 divided by 2 will give us 19 inches. So this is 19 inches. I will give a mark of chalk there. This is it. I mark the 19 inches. These are 19 inches. So I will send 1.5 inches inside. This 1.5 inches. So then I will measure from here to here. This 9.5 inches. 9.5 divided by 2 will give us 4.75. So I will also mark this is the first belt holder point, and this this here, this 1.5 inches is the second one. So the middle bed holder point, I will measure. This is 12. From the first to the last bed holder point, we give us 12 inches. If I divide the 12 inches by 2, it will give us 6. So I mark the 6 inches here. So we also make the same measurement on this area. I will mark the same thing on this area. We measure from here, from this zip point. I will measure it out. This is 19 inches. This 19, I will mark 19 inches, which is 38 divided by 2. By 2 will give us 19. So I will also mark out 1.5 inches. This is where our bed holder will fall. So we measure between this point and here. This is also 9.5. I will mark 4 3/4. And I will divide this by 2. The first and the last bed holder point divided by 2 will give us the third bed holder point. This is 12. So divide by 2 give us 6. I will mark the 6. So we are good to go. Now what I will do next, I would like you to see this. This is the reason why I did not close this place. I will lose here. I'm going to lose here. So this is the reason why I did not close this lining. I'm coming to the reason why I did not close the lining. And I will still lose this point. This point, I will still lose it. But I want you to watch. I will take this where my pocketing end. This is where it ends. If I place this, try to stretch it. So I will give a cut of about 1.5 inches depth. I will cut from inside 1.5 inches depth. This is 1.5. So this is the cut I gave to it. You can see the cut. So now, having done this, the next thing I'm going to do is that I will mark here. I'm going to mark here to indicate that this is where this pocket mouth falls. I will now lose here. I will lose the thing out. I will lose it out, but I have a mark of chalk indicating that this is where the pocket mouth falls. So I will now run the stitch. I will now close my lining. I will join the lining. I will also cut the lining to the stage, to that point, to the same point. Then I will close this lining on this area. I join the lining with the pocket. will do the same thing on this side. Remember, about 1.5 inches. Give a mark of chalk here, and I will loosen this. I will also give a cut here. So I will continue with the stitch. So what I will do next is that I will rim this area. So I will place my lining. This is a lining which I've cut out for this. I place it this way. I want you to watch very carefully. Watch very carefully. So as I sew it, then I will sew to this point and I will sew it out. So I will cut here out and I will fold here. So you can see how it is. So I will still rim the opposite side. This is the opposite side. I will rim the opposite side.